Hey teacher friends, it's Katie, and I want to show you a couple of Google fonts that you need to add to your Google Docs today. And the really cool thing is that when you add it to Google Docs, it will also appear in slides and sheets, even in your Google Sites. So you're definitely going to want to add these today. If you've never added a font before, to do that in your Google Doc, you're just going to go to your drop-down menu, and the first option is More Fonts. So what I want to show you today, we're going to start with some that are going to help students or teachers and other users who struggle with reading on a digital screen, especially those who struggle with dyslexia. So the first one I want you to try is Andika. Andika is created to have shapes that are easily identifiable so they don't have to guess, is that an I, an L, a J? We've all been there. The other one I want you to look at is Atkinson Hyperlegible. This one was created by the Braille Institute to help people who struggle with low vision. And then the one that I probably use the most is Lexend. And Lexend comes in almost a dozen different varieties of shapes and sizes. There's lots of extra spacing, and again, for folks with dyslexia, very distinguishable characters between the different letters. So you can choose which one you'd like to add based on your students' needs. The other type of font I want to show you is Redacted. Now you have to type Redacted, R-E-D-A-C-T-E-D, but when you get that, you're not going to see the word Redacted. You're going to see this block or you're going to see the squiggle. Choose both because they're both pretty fun and awesome. And once you've selected and put a check marks next to all the fonts you want to add, go ahead and click OK. And you'll notice that in your drop-down menu, these have now been added as options. So let me show you. I'm going to select all of my text just so you can kind of see at a glance what Andika and Atkinson Hyperlegible and even Lexend, what they look like. Now this could be a really simple modification for you, but mean a world of difference for the users that are trying to read your document. But let's take a second to look at what Redacted does. So immediately I'm thinking of redacting with sensitive information. We'll talk about that in a second. But you could use this as a teacher in your classroom to get students to predict keywords or to hide information until you're ready to share it with them. So for example, I may have this activity and I don't want them to know the scenarios yet. I will just highlight the text and change it to redacted. I can choose the block of text. I love how it changes the link, which is still blue. You could also just make that a squiggle, which is kind of interesting and fun. 3 different font sizes. And so that way, when you're displaying this to students, they can't see the scenario yet until you're ready to share it with them. Full disclosure, anybody who's an editor can change the text and change it to something legible. See, I just have to select it and move it right back to a font that you can read. Also, if you have your settings so that somebody can make a copy or download, even if they're a viewer, then they would be able to make a copy and change the font. So this is not like top secret CIA level redacted, but it's a fun way to kind of hide information in a share or a view only scenario. Now, I do want to take a moment to show you what this might look like in a Google Sheet, even though this is a series about Google Docs, because this is where I feel like Redacted could be super beneficial when you've collected data from a Google form, maybe an assessment, maybe you've been tracking progress, and you're having that parent-teacher conference. You can come in and redact information that does not pertain to the students that don't need to be shared. You could redact their scores, you could redact last names, you can redact any of this information. So you can just turn your computer screen, share the information with the stakeholders, and then when you're done, just return it back to your normal font. If you have any questions, please go to techwithkatie.com or subscribe and learn more of my tips and tricks here.